No agriculture in Arizona is currently sustainable from a financial standpoint. Um, there was a recent study done a little over a year ago looking at food systems in southern Arizona, and they found that farmers here have been losing money for at least a decade. And so at this point, agriculture is not a financially viable system, at least for those farmers that are using conventional agriculture, because the cost of their inputs are going up and up and up. Uh, what I think is going to be required is developing um, low input agriculture, so organic agriculture, saving your own seeds, being super efficient on water, minimizing the amount of mechanization that's required. And then also the other end is that we need to develop more markets uh, within Tucson and the surrounding areas for the products that are grown here. A lot of the people who are actually selling at the market aren't the actual farmers. They're hard to be there because the farmers often growing stuff, but many of the small farmers do everything. So there are some young people, but around the country, labor is a major problem. So that's one of the many unsustainable things we're doing in agriculture.
Product labeling is an issue in the industry. A couple of years ago, they passed the COOL law, the country of origin labeling, but it only addresses where the product was grown. When you read things on labels like pesticide-free or organic, there are standards looked at in the U.S. That may or may not exist in different countries, but it still comes across the border and it gets sold.
My name is Mitchell Paval-Zuckerman. I'm a research assistant professor with Biosphere 2 at the University of Arizona, and I am an urban and wildland ecologist. Urban growth versus water for agriculture in Arizona, and that's one of the key questions that come to mind when you think about sustainability and water resources. We have to balance our use of that resource for the different industries and endeavors that we're interested in the state. So we have an urban population that's growing. At the same time, we have a series of agricultural setups that we're trying to sustain and maintain. I think it's difficult to think about sustaining agriculture and urban growth at the same time, just because our current water allocation can't sustain future projections, but at the same time we usually don't think about climate change, which is going to make things drier. So the way that water is being used in agricultural purposes now in Tucson is trying to meet other environmental problems than just water resources. So it's trying to tackle the issues of access to food and also the carbon footprint that comes from producing food. So you could make the argument that the more challenging sustainability problem is climate change. If we can't get a hold on that, nothing else really matters. So producing food locally means we don't have to drive it around, we don't have to refrigerate it as much, and we're investing that water in a way that can be more sustainable from that point of view. But you can also look at it and say, how much are we actually able to produce? How many people are actually getting access to that food? Is the access to that food equal? Is it sort of clustered among certain types of people? And from those perspectives, it's a little bit more questionable about whether that's a more sustainable use of the water resources that we have. We may be better off using our water to grow trees in the city to cool things off so we don't have to run our air conditioners as much.